Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ted Santos, and I am your host of Straight Talk. We are the talk show that is made for men by men, except ladies, you never want to miss our show. Why? You don't want to miss our show because we are the talk show that addresses life, love, relationships, social challenges. We even talk about money. And we always do it from a man's perspective. So for decades, we have been listening to the ladies talk about life, love, relationships, money, career, all those things. And we've always heard it from a woman's perspective. They've even told us what it means to be a man. So here at Straight Talk, you get to hear it from a man's perspective. And today is going to be really special. You guys know every once in a while I bring in a guest. And today, man, we are going to have a superstar. And we're going to have a great conversation about his career, about the music industry, and we're going to talk about relationships also. So this is going to be an enlightening show. And for those of you who are joining for the first time, we always like to open up on our blog talk. I have a phone number you can call into. It's 323-642-1387. That's 323-642-1387. And sound check for you guys on YouTube Live. And I assume everything is going smooth here on Instagram. I'm on a blog talk radio doing a podcast. And we have our guest. If you guys have seen the write-up already, you know who it is. Let′s, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Hey, Two Hearts, how are you? PJ. Okay. Well, we're doing a different group, but yes, Boys to Men, we're all part of that. Good. Thanks, Let′s. And so I see you guys are coming in. Like the video. I ask that you like the video. Let's get the likes up. We want to get YouTube to catch me so that we can have YouTube catch us on the algorithms and send more people here. So let's get the likes up. Share the video. Share it with those who you know would be very interested in this. And this is going to be a very enlightening conversation. I spent some time with this gentleman having a great conversation. Very interesting. He's from Baltimore. I lived in DC for a number of years and spent quite a bit of time hanging out in Baltimore. So you all are going to be pleasantly surprised, and you're going to enjoy this one. So let's get the likes up, guys. Share the video. Always appreciate your support. I've dropped my Cash App and my PayPal information. Always appreciate the support. What's going on, West Coast? See you in the house. Thanks for joining. And I'm just navigating some things here, so don't mind me. But we've got our superstar on hold. He's ready to come in and have a chat with you guys, and we are going to have a very, very delightful and enlightening conversation. He is someone who has seen a lot, and he can give some insight into some things that maybe some of you have had questions about over the years. And we're going to get down to the facts. The facts. So what are we talking about here tonight? We're talking about relationships as always, but we're going to have a former star from the group Dru Hill. You all know them. part of the 90s. And he's going to talk about the impact R&B has had in creating the simp culture that so many talk about. You could maybe say some other singers were even before them and sort of paved the way for that kind. And people have some questions about other groups that may have even come before that. So we're going to dig into all of that this evening. And I see we have a bunch of callers coming in on Blog Talk. We have people coming in, lining up on, we've got the callers coming in and lining up on YouTube. So this is going to be exciting. Hey, Chris, what's going on? Thanks for joining, man. And just want to acknowledge a super chat here. West Coast Reg, always love your support. Thanks for the support for the $5 super chat, Reg. I know you're drinking money, man, but you can get intoxicated by this interview, man. And I'm going to even open up the lines so that you all get to have a conversation with Woody here. You guys know Woody from Dru Hill. Everyone knows him. He's going to join us live. He was right there with Dru Hill from the very beginning. And I think you guys are going to appreciate the story behind the group that lit up the charts. Hey, Chris, I saw that Cash App. Thanks for the support, Chris. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Oh, Joanne, you made it here in YouTube. Thank you. I see you. You came in. How are you? So let's open up here. Hey, Woody, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty well. Thanks for joining. Thanks for accepting the invitation. The gentleman who introduced us, he's in the chat room. His name is Chris, so he's here.
What's up, brother? Yes, indeed.
So, yeah, man. So look, you are part of a group that lit up the charts in the 90s going into the 2000s, man.
Yes, sir.
And I think there's a story. There may even be a story that most people don't even know about. This gentleman named Kevin who supported you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A buddy of mine called me today. I was in the gym trying to get a muscle. And
I just came from the gym too.
Okay, cool. He called me and said he used to work for Kevin at I think he had a paper or something.
Oh, the Afro.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah. So
his family owned that paper, I believe.
Yep. So he was giving me some insight. So you're from Baltimore.
Yep.
And I was down the road. I think that was 395 and Route 1 in DC. Used to hang out.
Oh, yeah.
So I spent some time in Baltimore. It was definitely happening. It was definitely different back then when you were singing.
Oh, most definitely. Definitely.
So how'd you guys, Dru Hill, where'd the name come from?
The name came from a park that was in the middle of, actually in West Baltimore. And it's a park called Druid Hill Park. And that was like the spot back in the 90s where everybody, like all the guys that was getting money, had all the nice cars, all the fresh whips, would get them all washed up and everything and come out to the park. And then all the pretty girls would come out with next to nothing on or they booty shorts or whatever. And everybody just meet up. It was just a spot where everybody just met up I think it was every Sunday, if I recall properly.
Sunday,
like every Sunday, everybody got together.
Right. So if you were from Baltimore, when you heard the name Dru Hill, everyone knew what that meant.
Right. Yep. And a couple people in Atlanta too, because they have, I think it's a mall for them, and it's called Druid Hills Mall. So when the first time we came to Atlanta, like people was like running up and thanking us for representing for them because they thought we were from there. Be like, y'all got 112. Y'all got some representatives, definitely some great representatives too. But nah, we from Baltimore.
That I mean, actually, I've been through Drew Hill. I was never there on Sunday night, so I never actually witnessed
Right,
hanging out and all that. But just being through Baltimore. So I
right,
figured when I heard the name, I was like, oh man, that must have been named after the section,
right.
which gave everyone a good feeling. So, but how did you guys first start singing together?
Man, it happened in waves. Like I met Cisco in middle school. He and I went to a middle school called Northeast Middle School.
Okay,
And we ended up being in a class together because they would take people who ordinarily wouldn't be like together in class and put us all together so we could all get to know each other. And he and I kind of clicked from day one because he could dance real good and he
okay,
could also draw. And I used to draw also, and I used to rap. I used to write raps. So I would pass him like my folder with all my raps in it, and he would pass me a book with some of the stuff that he drew, and we just were cool on that basis.
all
Then
right,
we went to high school, and they had a thing called singing telegrams, and it was like our choir would like dish out different people and put us in groups. And on Valentine's Day, people would pay like $1, $2 or whatever, and a group would come around to your classroom and sing your favorite song for you. So out of that, I kind of got known kind of around the school because before that I was like real shy and nerdy, like Steve Urkel type, and I kind of got known around the school for
you were
singing.
shy, you were shy and nerdy, and standing
Mm-hmm.
up on stage singing.
Yeah, because it's like two different worlds. Like I've
Right.
been singing since I was 3 years old. My mom was a choir director, so she put me in front of people and had me singing my first solo when I was 3 years old. I used to have it on audio tape, but the tape wound out and I couldn't get it back in.
Oh,
But so singing for me is like breathing. Like I'm never shy to sing in front of anybody, but I am to this day, I'm still a little like anxious when I go to malls and stuff like that because that's where I feel like I'm in somebody's way or somebody might be in my way or whatever like that. So it's like it's a different type of shy and nervousness. But when you're doing something that you know that you feel like you do well and you're confident in it, then all that just goes away.
it goes away.
Right,
Okay.
yes, sir. Yeah, but I was singing with that, and then so from that, because I was shy, I wanted to surround myself with because I started getting known around the school. People used to call me little ooh yeah because of Jodeci. Like I used to try to wear clothes like what they wore,
Okay. All
and I
right.
sung, so they just called me ooh yeah when I walked through the hallway. So I started surrounding myself with other people because I figured if I was in a group, then all the attention and all the focus wouldn't be on me. Like I could still sing, but I just wanted to have people around me that some of them didn't even sing. Like the first group was like me, a guy who used to dance for a local show that used to come on here called Shakedown, named Damien. And then it was like two or three other guys, a guy named Mike who actually left before me to sing gospel, and a guy named Chris. And so one day, Nokia came in with a guy named Bravette, and they asked to join the group. So it was like five of us at that point, and then it ended up being like 15 of us at some point. It was like a choir. They used to get together at the school, and we just over the years it just like dwindled down to the members that you'll see. And Nokia had switched schools, and when he switched schools, he met Jazz, and that's when Jazz got in the group, and then they just started moving people around because what happened was I started the group, but my mom took me out because when she found out about it, because all this time we just sing at school, and she had no idea about it. When she found out that I was singing somewhere and it wasn't church music, she wasn't happy. So she came up to school and actually physically removed me one day. And I still used to sneak and sing with them. But when they started, by the time they met up with Kevin and started doing talent shows and stuff like that, I
Right.
wasn't in the group anymore because my mother wouldn't allow me to sing music
Nope.
that wasn't gospel music.
Really. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up in a rather strict household, strict
Yeah,
Christian household.
yeah, very, very. My mom was very protective of me because my mom and dad worked at Hickey. I don't know if you know Hickey. It's a correctional facility for youth, like
No.
a juvenile detention center here in Baltimore.
Okay.
I think they still have it, but they both worked there. My mom and my dad. So my mom was a teacher there. And my dad was a supervisor, like a youth supervisor, like a CO.
So you
So
grew up
we,
with both parents then.
oh yes, sir.
All right, perfect, perfect.
Yes, sir.
Good,
Yep.
good. So how did you get back? I mean, if your mother was like, if she came to the school and pulled you out of that,
Mm-hmm.
how'd you get back?
It was a wave with that too. They actually turned into a gospel group so that I could come back. They said, "We sing gospel. Do you think your mother will let you sing with us?"
Okay.
And so I asked her, she said, "Yeah." But then eventually they got back with the guy because during the time that I left, they got a deal with a guy from out of DC, and his label was called University Music, and it was a production deal because he still was going to go through a major label to get the deal. But they had a deal with, I think, Atlantic Records, that they had a developmental deal over there, and they got out of that deal. And right at that time, that's when they called me to come back. And
Okay.
then we did gospel, but then the guy called back, asked could we do R&B again. So I had to talk to my mom about that, and we actually went and spoke to my pastor at the time, and we had to talk with him. I proposed to my mom. I said, if we talk to the pastor and he say that it's okay, can I go ahead and say? So I had an idea that I would be good with him because his son actually used to play jazz music over in Germany for a living.
Oh,
So once he talked to her and put her mind at ease a little bit, then she allowed me to go ahead and sing with him after that.
cool. And the guy in DC, was his real name True Mathematics?
His name, I don't know. I know him as Hawk Islam,
Yeah,
but I don't know. He might have had some different names
yeah.
during the time or whatever.
I think his legal name is True Mathematics. He went to Howard with me. I was
Yeah,
there.
he definitely went to Howard.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same guy. I know who.
Okay.
True Mathematics.
Okay.
So he put something together formulaically. He put a formula together that worked for you guys.
Yeah, he had the label, and then he actually took us to other labels to get the major distribution. I
Oh,
remember going to Interscope Records, and they were interested, but they didn't move as quickly. And then we went to Island Black Music, which was the label that actually moved quickly and signed us up.
there was a rumor that you guys worked at the fudge, that place that made fudge down by the harbor.
Yeah, we worked there, the Fudgery.
The fudgery. Yeah, I knew
Mm-hmm.
that place. That so you
Yep.
guys would be sick. People would crowd around just to hear you guys singing while you were working. Is that?
Oh, yes, sir. They had other branches in other states, but
Uh-huh.
ours was always number one. We used to get a bonus every month for being the number one branch of that
Really?
company because we were in there harmonizing the same way we were singing on the records. That's
Uh-huh.
the same way that we were singing live for everybody right there. And it wasn't just us; it was like some pretty girls that was also there singing and working.
That
Actually, one of the girls that used to work there wrote a bunch of Beyonce's music on her like second and third album. A
no.
girl by the name of Makiba Riddick used to work there with us too, and it was a bunch of talented people that worked there when we were there. It was something that to catch. Like if you missed it, you missed out.
And so how someone's asking in the chat, how old were you when all this was happening?
When we signed, I was 19. So like between the ages of we were all between the ages of 17 and 19.
Okay. All right. So there's a bunch of questions coming, but I have a question. Who influenced you in terms of musical artists? Who did you look up to, or you said Jodeci? I heard that one. Anyone else?
Me personally, I was always in church. So the most of my influences come from like Daryl Coley, the Winans, Commission, Clark Sisters. And on the R&B side, it was of course Jodeci. That's like the most obvious influence
Right.
on all of us. And for me personally, as a writer and a singer, Stevie Wonder was a heavy influence. Boys to Men, definitely, because they were definitely a top group at that time. And just a whole bunch of like everybody who came before us, because the 90s was a period of even the one hit wonder, well, groups that would be considered one hit wonders had significant talent. It was just so much talent coming out at that time, you know, like from the Boys and Men to the intros and Silk, goodness. UNV was a group that wasn't like very, very well known, but they had songs that had a big impact. Like, because my whole thing was R. Kelly. It was like a lot of me and people just getting together and getting on the phone and singing for females. So whoever had a hot song out that I can learn and sing for a girl and get her to get to grinning and maybe tell me I could come over, whoever had that song at that time was who influenced me for real.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. Um, so did you enjoy your time with Drew Hill?
It was bittersweet. It was very bittersweet.
Tell me about it.
Because of the fact that I was taken out of the group by my mom.
Okay.
When I came back, like I put it like this when I try to explain it. It's like, say you were the manager at your job, but then you had to leave due to whatever reason. Right. And when you came back, the manager position was filled. So you basically come back as a regular worker.
Oh, wow.
So it's like you don't get your same respect because it's like I actually started the group. I was the founding member. I used to do a lot of the writing initially, and I did a lot of the singing. When I came back, the format was already set in place because Hawk and Kevin and them, when they first heard the group, they didn't hear me. They only heard Cisco and Jazz. So by the time I came back, then it was all they had already set in their mind who they wanted leading the songs.
Right.
And then it's like when it came to the writing, I used to do a lot of I was one of the primary writers. But when I came back, by the time I came back, Nokia had stepped up his game with the writing. So he was already on that. So it's like I basically had to fetch for crumbs. I had to get in where I could fit in. Like if it was a song that they already working on and they might have had like one little section that wasn't written, I could get on and write that little section. Or if it was like a little bridge or something on the song like before, I would have been at least guaranteed a verse. But when I came back, it was like, all right, well, if we can fit you on this bridge or whatever, then you can go ahead and do that. But other than that, we already got our format, you know?
You're kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey guys, let's get the lights up. So, you know, we've got a superstar in the house. So let's show some love with some lights in here. Let's get the lights.
Appreciate you.
Say that again.
I said I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Let's get the lights up. So you started. So when would you say the group was, or like official to the public? What year was that?
96 was the year that we got our deal. 1996.
Okay, and you were there in 96. You had come back.
Oh, most definitely. Yes, sir.
All right, so you wrote it out.
I wrote it out until like 99.
Okay, so you had to like kind of box it. You had to fight your way to get a new spot when you came.
Yeah, it's like they just brought me back with a whole different vision. Like the vision that they obviously collectively had in bringing me back was different from the vision that I had for being brought back.
You mind if you, what was your vision?
I thought I was coming back to my same spot that I came back to before, but I'm a wrestling fan, and you ever watch wrestling back in the 90s? Not so much the way it is now, but back in the golden era with Hulk Hogan and Tugboat and all them guys, and Andre the Giant. Sure. You remember they used to have a program that used to come on every week, and the top guys never fought each other on these programs. Like the top guys only fought each other on the pay-per-view, but leading up to the pay-per-view, every week they would have a program called like Superstars of Wrestling or Wrestling Challenge or something. Right. And the top guys would always fight these guys. When me and my cousin used to call them no names, but I learned that the proper name for these guys was called enhancement talent. So the job of these enhancement talent guys, as we know, wrestling is scripted. So the job of the enhancement talent guys was to make the top guys look good. So I feel like as far as musically, I was brought back into the group as an enhancement talent to make the other guys look good.
Interesting.
And not necessarily to make me look good.
Interesting. Okay. So go ahead.
But it was more like say for instance, and it's just the truth. It's like if we had one guy in the group that wasn't a singer, then they would be like, yo, well, we know you can sing, but if you sing, it's going to make this one guy look bad that's not singing. So can you not sing so that we don't make this guy look bad? Or I was in shape when I first came back into the group. And so they was like, all right, we know you in shape. We can look at you and tell you in shape. I got the pictures to prove it. But we got one other guy who's not in shape. So if you take your shirt off, it's going to make him look bad. So somebody got to keep their shirt on with him. So that was always it was always something like that. But when I had my shortcoming, and that's what I always acknowledge my shortcomings just as much as I could point somebody else's out.
Right.
My shortcoming is that I can't dance. So if I was like, well, hey, can we tone down the dancing routines or something to accommodate me since I'm accommodating everybody else? And they said, oh no, we can't do that. We got to do that. That's important to our, that's vital. We got to do that. So it was never no concessions made for me, whereas though I was always making concessions for other people. So eventually it got old to me.
So what? All right. So let's take that as a segue. So was that part of what had you drop out of the group? And 1 second, guys, let's get the lights up. Let's show some more love. Show some love for Woody here. Woody from Drew Hill. So was that part of what made you walk away, or?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. That and the spiritual side of things also played a big part of it.
Talk
Like
about that.
I grew up in church, but I had the regular church understanding of things. I hadn't really started to dig deep and look deep until later on, like right after the time that I left the group. But at that time, I just used to pray a lot. And when I remember one night praying and saying to the Lord, I was like, Lord, I feel like I'm putting in as much effort as everybody else, but I don't feel like I'm getting as much out of it as everybody else seems to be getting out of this whole thing.
Right, right.
And I heard a voice come to me, nothing spooky. I didn't see nothing or nothing like that. But I heard the voice say, you never gonna get what it is that you want until you doing what I want you to do. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, say no more. But at the time, I was very heavy into being a people pleaser. So that night that this happened, the night before that, I spent the night on a tour bus by myself. I didn't go back to the hotel with everybody else. So the next morning, I had on my mind like, oh, I'm about to tell them I'm out of here. I quit. But when I saw everybody and everybody was in such a good mood and everybody was so happy to see me because I didn't go back with them the night before, they was like, "What? Where you been, man?" Everybody was all running up to me, giving me dap and everything like that. So I didn't have the heart to let them know what me and the Most High had talked about. So fast forward to like 2 nights later, we were on a European tour at this time. So fast forward 2 nights later, we went to France. And as soon as we got there, the local people were coming up to us and they were showing us love. But at the same time, a couple people said to us, y'all gonna be fighting tonight. And we looking at them like they stupid because we like, why are we gonna be fighting tonight? And they started naming a bunch of acts from the United States. And he's like, this person was just here and they was fighting. This person was just here and they was fighting. But the thing that we noticed, I think it was Kevin that said it, like y'all naming all hip hop acts. Dave, hip hop music tends to get people rowdy and make people sometimes want to fight. Right. He's like, we singing love songs. When we get finished singing, all the guys gonna be looking for the closest young lady and try and take them home and try and make something happen. So we thought no more of it. But what we didn't know, and we found out later that it was a group of people who were going around starting fights with these acts with the intent to rob them. And they were in cahoots with some of the show promoters, so that it was all like a big operation. No, well, I won't say it's big, but it was an operation that they were all doing. They were all in on it together. So, truth be told, just like they said, we did end up, well, our security ended up fighting with those guys or whatever. And it turned real ugly to the point where we had to get the National Guard come in and be our security for the rest of the tour. Like we was going in and out of hotels like how on the Jackson 5 movie, like we was going in, we wouldn't even enter the hotel through the lobby and get our keys. We going in through cafeterias and secret passageways and stuff like that the average person wouldn't even know existed at the hotels. Like our security's got on skull caps that's bulletproof, running us in one by one. It got real crazy. But the whole thing of that, while the fight was going on, it seemed like it was happening in slow motion to me. And I just kept thinking of the story of Jonah and the whale in the Bible, whereas though the good Lord told Jonah to go to Nineveh and preach, and Jonah didn't want to go there. So he got on a ship going somewhere else. And the Lord took and rocked the ship and made it so it almost sunk and all those people could have died. And then what happened? Jonah spoke up and was like, throw me overboard. This is happening because I'm here and the Lord don't want me here. So throw me overboard, let me out, and y'all have smooth. And that's what I told the members of the group after that fight. I was like, that happened because the Lord don't want me here. So if y'all let me go, y'all will have smooth sailing. But everybody's not, don't think spiritually. They say, the Bible say that the things that spiritual sound like foolishness to people that are only earthly minded, carnally minded. So
Right.
what I was saying sound like foolishness to them. So to this day, I still get what's the right word? Not interrogated, but I still get harassing phone calls and people sent to harass me and stuff to try to get me to return back to that situation.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Great story, man. What was that like? Having to be snuck in like the Jackson 5? Like you made that kind of starter, man. What was that? What did that feel like?
And to be honest with you, it kind of felt cool because it made me think of the Jackson 5. Like it was dangerous. Like what people say about being black nowadays. They say I like being black. I love being black. Like it's dangerous sometimes, but it's lit. That's basically how I felt. Like it was dangerous, but at the same time, it felt kind of cool that we was that important to have
Right.
actually the United States actually sent the National Guard over to travel with us because they don't just do that for anybody. I'm sure.
You all had to pay for that, right?
I think whoever the promoters that wanted us to stay there and finish the tour, I think they paid for it. But I wasn't making no money anyway, so I don't know who money it came out of. Maybe it did come, maybe I paid for it. Maybe that's why I didn't get paid. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So just before we move on, you were telling me about you didn't like some of the things you saw in the music industry. Was that also a catalyst to make you want to step out? Because your story about like how you made that analogous to Jonas, that was a good story. So I'll start myself and step out because maybe I just don't belong here for spiritual, right?
Right.
So was there anything that was happening in the music industry that you just didn't like and you didn't want to be part of that also?
I mean, honestly, to be honest, I didn't learn a lot about, you know how sometimes you go through something and it don't make sense when you're going through it.
Right.
Like afterwards, what they say, sometimes life give you the test first and then it'll give you the lesson.
Right.
Like I was going through the test. All I knew at the time that I was in the music industry is that I didn't fit in. Like I remember when we shot the video for our second single, which was In My Bed, the guy who played as one of the people that he was imagining could possibly be the one that was with his girl, he was also from Baltimore. His name was Garfield. Like if anybody might remember back in those days, he used to be on the S Curl box. I don't know, he still might be on there to this day. He's a model from Baltimore. And when we first met him, he came up to us because we all from Baltimore. So he came and introduced himself. He's like, man, love, we all us Baltimore guys. Who'd have thought we'd have been all here together or whatever. We having a cool conversation. But right in the middle of the conversation, he just turned around and looked at me and he was like, brother, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. And turned to them and it's like, I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way either, but I'm just curious. He's like, either where did y'all get him from or where did he get y'all from? Because right now, looking at the four of y'all, I'm looking at him like Sesame Street. And he started singing that song with Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. And he said that about me. He said, you just seem like a whole different type of person than the rest of these guys.
No kidding.
You know, and it's like, and it was crazy that he could see it, but I always felt it. From day one, I felt that about myself. But I didn't say anything. I just tried my best to play the role, play the part, and look like I belong and act like I belong. But deep down inside, I didn't feel like I belonged either.
All right, cool. Hey, 1 second. I want to just give an acknowledgement to Two Hearts exclusive matchmaking for the $25 super chat. Thank you for your support.
Hey.
Thank you, Two Hearts. Thank you. And she's enjoying the interview. She wanted to definitely hear what you had to say. So
Surely appreciate it.
I know you did a number of solos and you played a huge role in a number of songs. But the one song, Angel, was there an inspiration for that song?
Yes, sir. It was the same inspiration. It was like a saga. On the first two albums, I did a song. Like the first song was called April Showers. And I wrote that when I first met the young lady. And then by the second album, time it rolled around, we had broken up. And so that was basically my song trying to get back with her. And ironically, it got so many other people like traveling. I would meet so many people. It's like, yo, that's the song that got me and my girl back together. It got everybody else and their girl back together except me and her.
Okay.
Yep.
So there may be some people who want to have a quick chat with you. I'll let them in a second, but
okay.
But here's so I want to shift gears on this. So one of the things you said to me is that 90s R&B kind of shaped the way the mindset of men to like kind of the simp life.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you say that? Like some people are like, you must be crazy, right? Like, come on.
I mean, it could have been even before us, but I know for a fact that when you hear songs like I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't do this and I can't do that if you're not around, baby. You know, like when it's only so much that you hear something, just like commercials. People say that the words that they listen to don't affect them in real life, but if that's the case, why do you have commercials? Like as soon as you see a commercial for a hamburger or some chocolate or even some beer or something, next thing you know, you want some hamburger or you want some chocolate, or you want some beer. Exactly. So when you continually listen to lyrics that perpetuate certain mindsets, then eventually you're going to start to feel that same way and feel like you can't eat and sleep if you don't have this girl around. But and what else, like songs like End of the Roadways, like I knew about it. I'm talking about all them times he was running around with that other fella. I knew about it. Baby, I just didn't care. You know, so after a while, you know your girl running around with somebody, you know about it, but baby, you just ain't care. You ask your girl like, oh, you ain't gonna do it no more, is you? All right, come on back over. You know, it just made it okay. It made it kind of cool. Just like the music of the day is kind of making it cool for a lot of these young kids to be junkies and strung out on drugs. Right. Because they normalize certain things. But to the flip side, on the positive side, I did want to acknowledge a couple of songs that wasn't simping and a couple of songs that did kind of go hard. Like you got with some guys called Profile. They sung that song about you're a liar, a cheater, a deceiver, a heartbreaker. They said they want their kids to Doug. They want it all. They took it all back. It was Ideal. Said, I'm going to leave you alone. Get your bags. Get the hell on. Yeah, songs like that. So shout out to the brothers making songs like that. And even Boys II Men. They made the End of the Road, but then they kind of came back a little later and I guess the other side saw the light a little bit. They made that song called Doing Just Fine. Getting along very well without you in my life. Say, time made me stronger. You no longer on my mind. But boy, oh boy, the time in between, it was rough. There was a lot of simping on wax. Wow. And you got a lot of people who love that too. It's a lot of people who saying bring back those type of lyrics, you know, as opposed to the lyrics that we have now. So I guess it's to each his own, but it's like with anything else, with entertainment, a lot of times us as guys especially, we got to be very careful what we internalize and what we intake. Right, it's like with movies. You see, like on a movie, the guy who sit there with the girl, and whole time she got a boyfriend, and she complaining to him about her boyfriend. Oh, he's such a jerk, and he did this and he did that to me. And the guy just sitting there listening to her. He might even take the fingernail, take the toenail polish out and polish her nails while she crying to him about the guy. And then at the end of the movie, she look at him one day, he come to the house, like, say he always wear sunglasses, like I always like to wear sunglasses. And he take his glasses off. She said, oh my goodness, Tommy, I didn't never know that you had the most amazing blue eyes. And then the next thing you know, they kissing. But in real life, you sit there and listen to a girl vent all day about their guy friend. And what she gonna do when she break up with him finally? She talk, oh, I'm finally leaving that jerk. You get all happy. And then she call you the next day, like, what you doing tomorrow? You get all excited. You think oh, what you want? What you want? I ain't doing nothing. I want you to come over. You get excited, like, oh man, it's gonna be just like the movies. I'm about to be like Tommy and take off my glasses and get some loving. She's like, oh no, I want you to meet this new guy I'm talking to and let me know what you think about him. Like, what? That ain't how it happened for Tommy. But that's the way it happens in real life. So a lot of times as guys, we definitely can't take a lot of these movies as a blueprint to what we should be doing in real life because it don't work out for us.
Well, you know, the other artist who did one interesting was Orange Juice Jones.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. That's the old school classic right there. Ain't nothing better than Walking in the Rain.
Right, exactly.
Don't touch that coat.
I took all the money out the bank account.
Oh man. That's the one.
You wearing shoes and get out of here. You what do you say? You a rabbit, right? Silly rabbit.
Yeah, silly rabbit tricks is for kids. Man, he wins the all-time crown. That was the ultimate one right there.
Right.
Yes, sir. Much respect to the juice.
So did you ever meet him?
Nah, I would have loved to. I would love to because he's still around. I just saw somebody posted something. They saw him somewhere and took a picture of him, and it was up on Instagram. I think he's living up in New York somewhere.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, I can ask you a whole bunch of questions. I know you kind of tight on time, so I don't.
Hey, we got a little bit more. We got a little while.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
You mind if I bring a couple of people in here?
Oh no, that's fine.
All right, so I want to take the first call at area code 870. 870, you're live and on the air with Straight Talk with Woody from Drew Hill. What's your name and where you calling from?
Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing?
All right.
Good evening.
What's your name? Tell them your name.
All the way out here from Parker, Arkansas.
All right, good enough.
Hey.
So you have a question for Woody?
Y'all fellas doing?
Oh, we all right. You have a question?
Good.
Well, I would say this to Mr. Woody. Now, as far as you talking about the influence of the music, now I'm like you, Mr. Woody. Now I did notice it, just a slight tag coming up in the mid-late '90s, because I was a little elementary boy around that time.
Okay.
Coming along on your singing career.
Yes, sir.
But I did notice what you're saying, what the man said. Some of those dudes with the simping behavior.
Oh yes, sir. It was heavy. That spirit was heavy in them times.
And so the mindset thing really did change.
Oh yes, sir.
Go back back into the '80s and on back, it was a whole different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you and Mr. Ted, y'all probably got a little more experience with this with that whole topic. But yeah, you made a good point.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kendrick. Hold tight, Kendrick. I want to bring someone from area code 609. 609, you're live and on the air with Straight Talk and Woody from Drew Hill. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, Ted, this is Anthony Knox from New Jersey. What's going on?
What's going on, Anthony? Thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm not going to say too much. I just want to say, as a matter of fact, how you doing, Woody?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Good. Yeah. What I will say is that I'm 50. My generation is responsible for a lot of simping in the generation before us as well. And it just has to change.
Yes, sir. You're right.
But thank you for your contribution to our,
Sir, you're absolutely right. And shout out to Newark too. I spent some time there back in the '90s. I had a musical band that I used to perform with, and we did a lot of. They were based out of Newark, so I used to come up there and rehearse and record and stuff with them. Nothing but love every time I came through, for real.
Yeah, I got because I'm from Newark, but we also have a lot of family in Baltimore as well. My father's from Baltimore.
Hello. You.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Can you still hear?
Yeah. I was saying that.
Hello.
Hold up, Anthony. Oh, I think his connection. Yeah. I think he lost. Yeah. He's gonna have to come back in. He must have had a bad connection. All right.
Yeah, but what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna lay back and listen.
And listen. All right. Yeah, I think you had a bad connection with.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Back. It kicked me off. Yeah, sorry about that. I was telling the brother I spent some time up in Newark recording and rehearsing with a band, and I had a lot of love for Newark. And next thing I know, I couldn't. Y'all was frozen.
Okay.
Sorry about that, but I hope the brother can still hear me. Definitely nothing but love and respect for Newark, and he made a great point.
Like a lot of my family's from Newark, but we also, on my father's side, we also have family in Baltimore. My father was born in Baltimore.
Oh, that's what's up. When I first came there, it seemed like I was still in Baltimore. Like when I got off the train, like everybody was dressed and they looked just like people from home. So I felt like I got on the train and they ain't really go nowhere.
Yes, it's the same difference. It's, it's the same difference. The two cities are basically the same.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. Hey, Anthony, hold one second.
Thank you, and I'm gonna listen to the rest. I'm just gonna listen to the rest of the show.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for calling. I want to take another call from area code 330. There are 2 330. So this one is 330-328. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Ted. This is Michelle Cobbin calling from Kent, Ohio.
Ohio?
Hi, Woody.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for calling.
Bless you. You know,
bless you.
I know you. Wow, God is good. I'm
all the time.
Faith of United Church Jesus Christ from Ravenna, Ohio.
Okay.
Farm. Are you familiar?
Is that with Todd and them? The what's it called? The Half Mile Home?
Yeah.
Did I come there with them? Because I know I used to come through Ohio a lot with them. Like we did some performing, and then I was up there recording and hanging out. And then I had a homegirl that lived in Ohio, so I was back and forth there quite a bit too.
When I said we wasn't raised under the anointing, he wasn't getting far. I tried with you. We don't get to get far. This is not happening. I'm just glad I'm just glad we live in to tell everyone that Jesus is the real deal, Holyfield.
Oh, most definitely.
He was our safe and time. When I see, I was like, oh my God, Woody. I know you from Woody, but but I'm just so happy that you are still in the day and time, and you made a wonderful choice of staying in the will of the Lord, because I know our parents, R&B wasn't even allowed in the house. We,
nope.
In the playing cards and that.
Nah, wasn't no cards. My grandmama said cards was the devil. Only thing we could play was Old Maid and Uno. None of that other stuff.
Wow, really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
She know.
That was happening. But I just want to say that you got to come to our new church in Ravenna, United Church of Christ. I'm Michelle Cobbin. Ted can give you my full name. You look us up on Facebook. But I want you to do a solo or something, work with my mom. I put her singing a little bit. So I need you to come through before she leaves. She redid Shirley Caesar's Help Me. We got a couple hours and stuff.
Oh, wow.
See what you can do. And I have a cousin named Sharon. She's amazing. We have nothing but singers in my family. But,
okay.
So, your pastor, but I need you to come through and again, my name is Michelle Collins, and I am so glad that you made it to Ted. So, and Ted, you got to keep it holy because that's all we know, okay?
All right.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, keep listening. I'll put my I'll tell you my Instagram before we get off the air. I'll give my Instagram so you can let me know the details about the church and stuff. Okay.
And thank you for taking this call, and God bless you, Ted, for having them there.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Michelle.
Hey, now you too.
God bless.
God bless.
I'm going to take a second call from area code 330. 330, you're live and on the air with Woody on Straight Talk. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Ted and Woody. I'm Letitia from Orlando, Florida.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thanks for calling in.
You're welcome. Thank you for this show.
And thank you for the...
I
Thank you for the super chat, Letitia.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Woody, I'm a huge Drew Hill fan.
Nice.
Drew Hill fan.
Nice.
My heart, you left because you were that balance. I think you were that connection. That just, even if you didn't realize it, you were that connection that kept the group together. When it went from 4 to 3, it just didn't sound right. Just didn't seem right. The balance was off. Then you came back and other members were added. So after Enter the Drew, I really didn't focus on the group anymore. But I will say that I'm looking back. I was 16 when you guys debuted. Back, sophomore year of high school, and how all the boys started singing "Tell Me," doing the little dance that you guys did. Young lady. Then Beauty hit, and it just made us feel like, okay, this is how guys are supposed to act. This is what guys are supposed to do. They're supposed to show us and tell us in this way that they want us, they desire us.
Right.
And here now that, oh my gosh, my favorite music era, one of my favorite male groups of all time. No offense, I'll come second to Boys to Men.
That's cool. We definitely looked up to them,
One of my favorite groups of all time has contributed to simping.
I mean, it's not all bad to show love to, somebody that you care about, but it just happened to be a balance. And some of that music was promoting stuff that was a little over the edge. Not all of it. There's nothing wrong with telling a woman they're beautiful, or telling a woman to communicate with you and let them know what it is that you want and you expect out of the relationship, because that's really just having straight talk like we having right now. But some stuff just go a little bit over the borderline, and that's the stuff that's the simping. Well, I can't sleep if you're not next to me, or I don't want nothing to eat. Look, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat. You better catch up. You missed out on a meal if you wasn't around. And that's me now, but me back then, I used to really lay in the bed in the dark and not get up until my girl called me. Wow. I wouldn't start my day. Like, I lay in the dark from sun up to sundown if she hadn't called. I remember being on BT one time to do an interview when I had did my gospel project. And I was on with Michael Eric Dyson. He had Reverend Run from Run DMC. He had Play from Kid and Play. Like, all these great people that I looked up to on there. And I couldn't even focus on the interview because I hadn't talked to my girl all day and I didn't know where she was at. I was just sitting there like a zombie.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
And you know who else contributed? Babyface. Well, I'll pay.
Oh, he was the king. He was the king.
Yeah, exactly.
He made a song called "I'm Sorry for the Stupid Things I Done." And that's cool because sometimes we do some stupid things, but it gotta have a balance to it. That's the only thing. He kind of redeemed himself on the cut that he did with Lil Wayne called Comfortable. He said, I'm not saying this to shake you up. I'm saying this to wake you up. If you don't love me, somebody else will. So don't you ever get too comfortable. He kind of came back strong with that one, but that's one song against a whole catalog.
Exactly.
We got a couple more strong songs to make before he be all the way good on this side, for real. But yeah, he definitely was the king.
He's got to do a remake of Orange Juice.
Yeah, there you go. With the video too, you gotta go hard.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Hey, anything else? Go ahead, Kendrick.
But real talk, Mr. Santos, my influence was the Delphonics.
Oh man,
real red beard bro right there. Didn't that blow your mind this time?
No.
Hey.
They know what they were singing about.
Right, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
You supposed to blow their mind. We ain't supposed to make us lose our minds.
Did you like any of that? Delphonics, Blue Magic, the Dells?
Oh my goodness, I loved it all. Matter of fact, Jazz, the big guy in the group, he introduced me to that era of music because, like I said, I wasn't allowed to listen to nothing but gospel. Yeah, okay. So he grew up in a household with a lot of balance. Like, he sung in a quartet with his dad and his family, but on the flip side, his dad loved the Temptations, Delphonics, Blue Magic, all those type of harmonizing groups and stuff like that. So he just used to slide me CDs under my door at the hotel and stuff from time to time. He just knock on the door with a CD, like, boy, listen to this.
Okay.
So he introduced me to that stuff, and it definitely gave me a new appreciation for that era, for real.
Very cool. Yeah, I want to give an acknowledgement to Joanne. Thank you, Joanne, for the super chat. She's loving the show. So
thank you.
They're enjoying you. They're enjoying you, man.
I'm enjoying being here, for real.
I appreciate it. I want to bring in another caller, area code 405. 405, you're live and on the air with Straight Talk. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, Woody. How you doing? This is Chris calling from Virginia.
Hey, Woody, this is Chris.
Whoa, what's up, good brother?
Hey, brother, how's it going, man? I don't even know how you found me. And I'm going to be honest, even when you told me that you were Woody from Drew Hill, I'm like, okay, I know Drew Hill, but I was never really an R&B fan because back during that time, I was heavily into hip hop. As a matter of fact, that's around the time that Ice Cube had left NWA and he dropped Predator, so he was doing his whole political awakening and all that. And
I remember that. I was like in middle school when that happened. I remember. Yep.
Right. So I was going through that phase, you know what I mean? As a matter of fact, summer of '96, there was a concert, DMX, 112, Snoop Dogg and everything, and 112 started off the concert. And all this lovey-dovey Simp music. And I looked through the crowd and every guy was just pissed off. Like,
wow.
What are you motherfuckers up on stage simping? Like, we paid money too, right? So they did like 3 songs and then they left. And then Snoop was up next. And
okay.
The greatest thing I ever seen him do.
What's that?
First thing he did when he came on stage was he said, all right, all you bitches sit down and shut the fuck up now.
No, he didn't.
Every dude in the audience jumped up and just, I mean, we knew right then, okay, now it's our time now. You know,
wow.
Men should behave, you know. But I don't think you guys, like, I don't think you guys started the simping. I don't think, I'm not going to put it all on you. I think what it is like Superman. We all watch the old Superman movies. Like, you see him flying through the air, but it was nothing unless you heard the dun, 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 you know, his theme song. So I think what was with you guys with your music, you put a theme song to simping, and that's
fair.
Presence, or that solidified it more. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Yep.
And so, what my question for you is the Bible's a very red pill book, and you're
very.
So, how were these Jewish execs able to get you to go against everything that God sent forth, which we know that man was created in God's image, and woman was created for man, but man was put on earth to rule over everything. And we're not supposed to be putting these women first. We're not supposed to be putting them on a pedestal, you know, because they're here to help us, not the other way around, you know. So my question was, when did you have your awakening, and did you see how backwards, you know, your song really was?
Man, that's an excellent question, brother. When I had my awakening was when the young lady just spoke about when the 5th member came into the group. When I came back after leaving, that guy was a little older than all the rest of us. Like, he didn't look older, but he's a little older than us. And when I started, he basically took me under his wing like a little brother. And he saw me simping for real. And it was before this time where as though we had to be able to put titles on stuff. But he just saw the error of my ways, and he just like kind of pulled me to the side. Like one time, like I was just sharing a story about how when I went on BET to speak, and I couldn't even get myself together to say intelligent stuff because I was worried about my girl calling me. And he pulled me to the side. He's like, look, man, I've been with my girl since high school. That's my high school sweetheart. He's like, but one thing I realized, he's like, when she get up and walk out that door to go to work, that thing go with her too. He said, so if I sat around all day wondering about where she was at and what she was doing all day long, I wouldn't get none of these songs real. I wouldn't be out here with y'all. You know, he's like, you gotta live. You gotta do what you gotta do. You know, it's like there's nothing wrong with having feel. He said, I found out my girl left me. He said it'll sting a little bit. He said, but it ain't gonna be none of this. Oh, I can't eat and I can't sleep and I can't do nothing if I don't have you. He's like, look, somebody gonna be with me. You know, and we ended up making a song called "What You Won't Do, Somebody Else Will." Get it together, I'm gone. I mean, that's how it went. I forget the title. It wasn't that long, but like hanging with him and just actually, it was almost like, and then at the same time going through a heartbreak because it was a girl that was my girl at the time. She on the record talking about, can't you just understand? I just don't want to be with you. And I think a lot of times music brings stuff to life in real life. It's almost like witchcraft, but I don't want to get scary. I don't want to get spooky on here and nobody think I'm a spooky guy, but it's like sometimes words is life. The Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue. So having her on the record saying that, and then shortly after that, we broke up. So having that happen and then having that brother, as well as a couple of other, my homies, my buddies, my brother Sleepy, who helped me too. He was a real red pill guy before it was a red pill. And just being the Most High just surrounded me with some brothers who knew those type of things to actually put that knowledge in me, because like I was sharing when we first came on, my mom and dad were together till death did them part. And they were basically like Beaver Cleaver and them. Like my household was just like Leave It to Beaver, or not even the Cosby Show, because they never argued. Like it was always lovey-dovey between my mother and father. So I never seen, and like even my ex told me, she's like, every girl ain't gonna be like your mother, yo. You gotta chill. You know, so I never knew how to deal with females for real, because all I knew was the sweet side of things. I never knew none of the real side of nothing.
So your mother was very feminine then, huh?
Very, very feminine.
She stay at home mom?
No, she wasn't stay at home. She was a school teacher.
Okay.
But she was just like basically all work. Like that's all she was worried about, like work and church. She directed choirs in church. And she taught at school, and then after school, she might go to get some school supplies and stuff like that, but then straight back to the crib. You know, like I never, in all my life, I never heard nothing about my mother with no other guy. My mother was actually a virgin when she got married at 30 years old when she married my dad.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, so it was a very unique upbringing that I came up in, and because of that, I ain't know nothing about the real stuff. And she kept me sheltered because, like I was going to say before, but I lost my train of thought. Her working at the school, she tried to protect me from being in relationships, because she said she would see the guys that she would teach. She's like, these killers and criminals and stuff like that, and they come in my classroom and just want to put their head down on the desk because their girlfriend broke up with them. She's like, that stuff can bring the strongest man down to his knees. And her thinking that she's doing me a favor, she's like, I don't want that to happen to my baby. So because of that, I wasn't allowed to date. I wasn't allowed to talk to girls on the phone or nothing like that till I was like damn near grown. So by the time I was doing it, I was behind in the game. Like they was getting over on me with stuff that you probably would get over on a guy in middle school with. They was getting over on me with them easiest tricks in the books. I remember my first girlfriend, she used to call me gullible yo. She's like, yo, just gullible. You just go for anything I tell you. You just say okay. Because I ain't know no better. I thought every woman was like my mother. And I had to find out the hard way that wasn't the case.
So that's interesting, because just let me say this, Chris. So your mother was the woman that every man wants his mother to be. She got married as a virgin, right? And and it wasn't that she was a 16-year-old or 21 or 20. She was 30, which that's like even more, you know, of a big deal. And I think, like you just said, a lot of guys are taught girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice, and they're virgin, all this good stuff. So you think every girl is going to be like your mother, and you don't see that. You don't see what's coming for you down the road.
Exactly, like getting sucker punched for real.
Right. Go ahead, Chris.
So let me ask you this. So once you took the red pill, and everybody, you know, gets there on their own way, but did you find yourself losing a lot of friends and family over that? Because, you know, when I truly, you know, swallowed the red pill, and I start, you know, just dropping facts and telling, like, you know, look, you guys claim to be Christian and claim to love God, but you're not following the doctrine set forth to you, you know, by God, you know. And I lost friends and relatives and, you know, everything. I was pretty much cast out. You know, I was exiled from a lot of family functions. Matter of fact, you know, I had a cousin that got married, and he called my mother and told my mother, tell him, you know, my wedding such date. You know, a month later, he called me on the phone. He's like, man, why were you at my wedding? I was like, what wedding? You know?
Wow.
And it's simply because I don't believe in calling, you know, black women queens and all this other dumb shit, you know? So did you have something like that happen to you?
Definitely. And I'm going to send you, when we get off of here, I'm going to send you a video by a good brother of mine by the name of New Breed. And he just spoke on this. Like, his video was titled, "Why When Your Family Members Start Moving Funny, Because You in the Truth." So I'm going to send you that when we get off here. And it definitely, I think it happens to each one of us, like you said, in a different way. But the cool thing about what happened to me when I first learned was I had just broke up with my fiance. We had broke it off. Well, she broke it off with me. And I was living in California. And I had left my phone at home because I didn't want her to see. I said, I ain't never seen no guy calling here for her. So I don't want her to see a whole bunch of girls calling for me. So I had left my phone at home with my sister, and I went out there. So when we broke up, my phone with all the numbers in it, I had left it with my sister. She got some type of way, some water spilled into where she was keeping it, and it got waterlogged. So I was at home for like a whole year with no contact with nobody. And that's when I really found myself. So then I did notice when I started coming around certain people, I would get treated a little differently. You know, I would get like, they would, you know, like they hear you, but they don't hear you. And it would be like certain functions that they wouldn't invite. And they said, we ain't fighting him. He ain't messing this party up. I ain't coming here with that, you know. But it's like I'm learning, what I'm learning now is the most important thing. Like, it's in the Bible. I can't tell you the exact chapter and verse, but the Most High said, I make the light and I form the darkness. I make life and I kill and I make alive. He said, I, the Lord, do all these things. So it's like the Most High is a man of balance. He's a being a balance. So I'm learning that it's a balance. You know, like certain conversations I would have certain places and with certain groups of people, and certain conversations I wouldn't even have with them people because you already know they're not going. Like even Jesus, the Messiah, he said, his disciples said, why do you talk to the people in parables? And he said, for the people that is meant for, he talked to them plainly. He talked to his disciples plain. But when he got out in front of everybody, he spoke in parables. So it's like every conversation ain't meant for every place. Right. And that's wisdom too. It's like certain places you go, some places I go, I just keep quiet. Because I know I don't agree. Like I'm Hebrew. But I will get called. My family is still Christian, and I have friends on social media as Christian. So if they call me to sing at a wedding or a funeral or something like that, I'm not going to agree with what that preacher talking about because he's not preaching the Bible the way that is written. And I know that that's not how it's really, like a lot of stuff they take out of context. And I know that, but I'm not going to get up in that church service and start talking about, oh, that's bullshit. You don't know what you talk about. And I'm going to keep quiet because I'm there to do a specific job. And when I get out of there, when I will talk to my own circle or my group of people that we all on the same page, then we could talk about it plainly. But when we're in front of them people, I just know it ain't the time for me to be talking about that. So I just hold my tongue. You feel me?
Very cool. Hey, hey Chris, hold. I think. Go ahead, Chris. One last question. I want to bring someone else.
Well, I'm just going to make a statement. I was going to say that I think because of some of the R&B cultures and everything that we went through growing up, that Black women became like they're so insecure they constantly need this just affirmation, and to the point where if they don't get it from us, they view us as wrong. We're the bad guys when we're not doing anything wrong. Now, if you don't call them queens, if you don't, it would put that woman first and all this nonsense that they'll tell you you're not being a man.
But you know what? Not to cut you off, they will say that, but their actions will be totally different. They'll chase you even more because you're not giving them that validation. And the guy who is doing it off top, like, let me give you this instance. I don't drive. Fun fact, I don't drive. So even when we was out as a group, I didn't drive. So I was always in a cab or something. So nowadays it's Uber, or sometimes I like the bus because it's just peaceful and quiet and I get where I need to go. So one day I was on the bus, lining up to get on the bus. And the bus driver was like, if you got a bus pass, come on and get on. If you don't have a pass, stand to the side and you get on after them. So it was line of people lined up to get on the bus. Mind you, I just got finished working 8 hours. I'm ready to get in and chill out for real. And so the guy, it was some guy, he had on like some jacket. I guess he's supposed to be enlightened or whatever. I'm not going to say what he was into because I don't want to insult nobody who might be listening, might be into the same thing he into. But he said to me, he turns around to me and say, brothers, you ain't going to let the sisters get on first? And I turned around to him. At that time, I was just irritated because I just worked. Like I said, I want to sit down. I say, look, he said people with passes. He ain't say nothing about no gender. And the thing about it, when he said that, you'd think all the sisters would have been rallying behind him and cheering him on, talk about that's right. The first person to suck their teeth, like, get out of here, was a female when he said that. Females don't really like them guys that do all that stuff. They look at them as simps. And a lot of times they use them. They might talk to them, but they use them. They got them stored in their phone as free food. They realize who the real men are. And they come to them. We don't even got to do no whole bunch of barking. Just like female, a lot of times, and I don't mean to insult nobody once again, but a lot of times the females who always got on their profile and stuff, lady this, I'm a lady, you will respect me. Sometimes from my experiences, they be the easiest ones to get to, if you know what I mean. Right. And on the flip side, a lot of guys that always talk about, oh, I'm a real nigga, I'm hard, I'm this, I'm that, they be the first ones to run when something kick off. So my whole thing in life is just, if you live authentically, people can see through all them facades, people can see through all the fake stuff that we try to say. So if they can feel vibes more than anything. So if you really a real one, they'll feel your vibe. You don't gotta do all that stuff. And they might complain about you. I was just watching a guy named Darius. He said women sometimes like to have the guys that they can complain about because they give them some emotional excitement for real. Like a guy that just do everything right, they might get bored with him. But the guy that they gotta complain and call their homegirls like, girl, I don't know where yet. He ain't been home in 3 days. And then when he finally do come home, he smash it right away. Whereas though the guy who they call up, they male girlfriend that they call to complain about the guy, he thought, oh man, he an asshole. How he do you like that? If you was my girl, I wouldn't do you like that. And he don't get none. All he get is just to sit there and listen and mop up the tears with a bucket. The females know who the real ones is. Just like we know who the real ones of them is for real.
Exactly.
What Jay-Z says, it's only so long fake thugs can pretend.
This is true.
Yes, sir.
Hey, everyone, hold on 1 second. I want to bring in another caller. Area code 857. You're live and on the air with Straight Talk. What's your name? Where you calling from? You're live with Woody from Drew Hill. Who's calling?
Hi guys. This is Gidget from Boston.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for calling. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you guys?
Great.
Everybody on the line?
Yes, man. We good.
You made that bad.
Do you have a question for Woody?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a question for Woody?
Well, so I wasn't really a Drew Hill fan, but not because, please don't get offended. But,
I ain't offended. I'm not a fan no more either. Go ahead and talk.
Okay, good. I wasn't really a Drew Hill fan, but because I didn't like the one with the blonde hair. But with that said, I felt something was just off with the group. I don't know. I felt like it was Drew Hill who really started the downhill of the relationships of women and men and Black women. I felt like that was the turning point of things.
For real?
So
we did our fair share of simping. I don't think we done it. I think it was the people right after us.
Right after you guys?
Yeah, because like that's when right after us was when all the people came out with though. Like when we came out, you actually had to be able to stop and cut the music off and sing a cappella. Well, after we came out, it was people that wasn't even singers. It was people that was like actually just good dancers or that looked like models and that was singing. And they started singing like when we were singing, we were still poetic and singing love songs and stuff. The people after us was the ones that just started straight up talking about we effing when we effing and come over here, F all that, take them clothes off. We wasn't like that. We was in the end of the 90s. From 96 to 99 was still lovey-dovey. Then starting at 99 and 2000 and beyond is when the decline of the love stuff really started happening. With Pretty Ricky and all of them, where it just went from love songs to just freaky and nasty.
Freaky and nasty. No.
We wasn't that. We was still lovey.
Maybe it wasn't so much your era, but I think that was just like, all right. After that, everything kicked in.
Right, exactly. It was right after 99, like the era that we came in. All of us was still lovey-dovey. We was still super simping. But the era right after that, it took a whole. It was no balance. They just went from one extreme to the other one. They went from simping to just going super hard, where it wasn't no romance, and it was just straight up just effing.
Right. Yeah. You know, and don't get me wrong. Like I said, I think you guys were one of the last ones, but
yeah, us 112, Nicks. We was still about we had a little bit of love in our systems.
The real simping, I think the real simping came, you know, not real, because I remember, how can I say this? I remember, you know, I remember R&B, like men, I feel like men write better music than women, especially love songs. I've noticed that. And I only noticed that after a man put me on.
Wow.
You know, and realized, and I was like, oh, because usually women just talk about, you know, the heartbreak, but never really. Some of them do write about loving a man, but I remember I love R&B, and you know, and another thing. So I love R&B, but I feel like it wasn't just genuine, like you said. Like you said, everything was about just effing and effing and effing. Not about the genuine love that we should have for one another.
Right.
I did a little bit, but it was like the simping, and then automatically went. So, like I said, I don't know. I just felt like I wish things were different. But I had a turning point definitely after you guys. So, you know, but I'm thankful that you're on, because you're letting us know the aftermath of that. And, you know, not only because of that, but your experience, which is more important, because I have a son, and I kind of didn't want him dating. Only 15, but I can't, there's this one, remember, I can't create a world for him. He has to learn the good and the bad. So
that's so important.
You know, hearing this as a woman and as a mother, you know, you're giving your perspective, which is important, because I don't want my son dealing with no chick who's gonna hurt him.
Right.
I mean, and I do need to let him know, like, you know, there's gonna be chicks out here who are gonna leave you for another one who thinks they're better. So,
that's being a real. That's the best thing that you could do. Like, just try to prepare them, but know that you can't be with them 24/7 and just stop them and just make his world stop. Sometimes we got just like when you don't want your kid to fall when they walking, but sometimes you gotta let them fall and scrape them knees up so they can see how it feels, and they might straighten up and start walking a little better. Sometimes you gotta experience them heartbreaks, because getting over it is what make you get that tough skin to move forward. But as long as you know that you told them what was going on and you gave them the heads up, you doing your part for real, you know? I love when mothers love their sons, because some parents don't care. They just drop them out there with no information. Some mothers even teach their sons to be simps for real.
Right, exactly.
And then, you know, so for a mother to actually tell their son what type of females to look out for, because like guys do that with their sons sometimes, but not often. Sometimes, a lot of times, when a guy bring a girl home for their dad or somebody to see, all he cares is what she look like. He's like, dang, oh yeah, you did good for yourself, boy, if she look all right. And if she don't look all right, he just don't say nothing. But it's never about how, not never, but it's very often it's not about her character and how she gonna treat you. Because like a lot of guys think because they get the pretty girl, their life is gonna be good. But sometimes that pretty girl only looking at you as free food. She don't even like you like that, you know? So it's good to have a woman, because y'all can peep each other's stuff. Like I remember later on in the game, my mother telling me about certain females, and my mother always spoke to me. She never spoke to me direct. She always spoke to me like in codes. So like my one girlfriend, we used to fight all the time. Like every day she come over, we used to fight. But that was just our dynamic. We had a one time, and I'm not into no horoscopes or nothing like that now because I read in the scriptures where it's telling me that I'm not supposed to, so I left it alone. But at that time, it was a book called The Secret Languages of Birthdays, and it said based on our birthdays, the only time we gonna be getting along is when we having sex. The rest of the time we gonna be arguing. And once we read that, it's almost like we put that on ourselves, like almost like we put a curse on ourselves,
right.
because that's how we would be. So after that, my mom, so like every Friday, the same girl would leave me and like supposed to be getting ready to go to the club. So like my mom said, pull me to the side. She would never come straight out and say it. She's just like, don't you think it's funny that y'all argue all throughout the week and she never leave, but every time y'all argue on Friday, she always leave? And I was like, oh, ma, she just get ready to go to the club. Like, leave her alone. She all right. My mom say, look, I like little such and such, but ain't that much club in the world, son. And later on down the line, I found out that it was a guy who worked out of town during the week, and he came home on the weekends. So on that Friday when she would leave, that's when she would pick an argument so she could go and hang out with him. And then he was gone by like Friday, by the end of that night, so she would come back home from the club with me. So my mother tried to give me some heads up, but she wasn't direct. So, and I was hard headed. Even though she would have been direct, I was hard headed. But at least she tried to tell me. So shout out to the moms such as yourself who do their best to put their sons on with game for real, because we need it.
Can I ask that question real quick, gentlemen?
I mean, it's cool with me if it's cool with Brother Ted.
Go ahead, Kendra.
I want to address this question to both Mr. Wood and Mr. Santos. Because you said something that was quite profound to me. My mind just backtracked a couple of years back when I was a little boy. I used to hit a hold of cat, and they were talking about you just a henpecked dude. As in regards to this Simps stuff, but I was gonna ask, is that the same thing?
Yep, my mother used to call this guy at my church. She used to say he was henpecked. His wife used to just buzz him around like them guys that on the TV show. Their wife be smacking them in the back of the head and stuff. Yeah, that's the same thing.
Hey, so what's your time?
I was wondering about that.
What's your time looking like, Woody?
We good. We got like another. I say we got like another half hour. We good till like 9.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let me bring in. Let me see if I can get another guy in here, another caller. Area code 310. You're live and on the air with Straight Talk. What's your name? Where you calling from? You're live with Woody from Drew Hill.
It's West Coast. What's up, fellas?
Hey.
Oh, what's good, brother?
Atlanta via Los Angeles, California.
Hey, man, I ain't been out there forever. Love it out there, though.
Oh, you know the best come from the West. But that's
you already know.
Yeah, cool. Hey, man, I was listening to you this whole time, and the thing that you just most recently said was things that I've been dealing with lately with my own mother, because like she was speaking in code to me. I just thought about this. Matter of fact, the last few weeks, ever since all of this come about, we woke up. I'm 54 now. I've been in the game.
Okay.
15 out of South Central.
Yes, sir.
I started playing back a lot of stuff that my mother would say to me, right? But it was in code, just like you.
Yep.
Right? She would never just like tell me the whole shit, right?
Right.
And now,
it drive you crazy, don't it?
Yeah. Now, man, I'm pissed off, and I'm like, I'm just playing back a lot of shit, So
yes, sir.
My mother would like say stuff, but she wouldn't tell the shit, right? She would
right.
the shit out. And I just remember one time my mother said to me, "Son, hey, son, you out here running these girls." I was young, good looking brother buff from Los Angeles, don't work it out. And she'd be like, "Son, I see you out here running these chicks and doing all of this, but do you really think that men like having sex more than women?" And I was like, "Yeah." It seemed like what she was like, no, son. So I looked at her,
And I said, oh. So I looked at her and I said, oh, they want to have it, but they want us to pay for it. She was like, yes. Something like, we had to go, they want it, but they whatever was monetary, whatever they want. So it was just like that. And so over the years, it was like that, But I'm going to tell you, you know what saved me?
What's that?
My father showed up. And I had some other men in the neighborhood because I was like the golden boy in the neighborhood. I played ball, did this. And I was clean cut, but I started running some chicks after a while. When I got started going. So my mom started complaining and telling the whole neighborhood, because I didn't move to South Central. I was born into the shit. So that means it was there. They got older. They all knew me from when I was a baby. So they saw me up, So when I started doing my thing, so before I know it, she's telling the whole neighborhood about me. So I go to somebody else and like, Reggie, I want to say, Reggie, you can't get it all, Reggie. You can't get it all. I looked at the lady. I'm like, oh, my mom been over here talking and shit, right? But then I went down the street. A man told me, Reggie, before he died, he told me, he said, Reggie, you tripping. You're a good-looking brother. You got a new car. You're making money. You don't need to be chasing after these fucking hoes. They need to be chasing after you. I mean, he led into my ass. Cause my mama went way down the street and was told him. So I was stuff now. But so it's just when you said that, I was listening. And there's another thing is, I grew up on classic movies. So I mean, from 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, right?
Okay.
All of that stuff, right? So I didn't realize, but see, my problem, I was watching them when I was 6, 7 years old. I mean, my whole wall is filled with those classic movies, those drama, love stories, even some horror, but you know what I'm talking about, the music.
Yes, sir.
And stuff. And I didn't realize that the whole time I was being socially programmed. Yep. Wait a minute, because the lady told me, I used to know Reggie. Because I used to say madam, and she's like, you use phrases and stuff. And for instance, Reggie, a lot of your makeup come from them classic movies and stuff that you watch. And I didn't I really wasn't picking up on it. So I was like, man, this shit is a trip. So, as I got older, and, I got, like I said, I've been in the game. I done seen a lot of shit. So, and, now everybody's, connecting the dots and stuff. But, it was just, just listening to that. And even the music, my brother was all teenagers in high school when I was born. I just sit in front of my brother's 64 Chevy listening to the Stylistic, Blue Magic, and all that. And just, and over the years, just riding with him, and I was absorbing all of this. I was absorbing all of that music and all, just absorbing it. Of course, and I was raised predominantly by a woman. Right. So, it's just crazy how all of this has come into play, with the music and everything, and how you can be socially programmed, and you're not even aware of it.
That's true. That's very true.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
My question, Woody, you're a Hebrew Israelite now, I take it?
Yes, sir. I'm Hebrew. It's different types of Hebrews, and I don't mean to insult nobody if there's anybody listening, but I'm not like one of the ones that be screaming people down or nothing like that. I just try to follow the Bible exactly the way that it's written, as close to the way that it's written as I possibly can.
Okay. My question is what precipitated the transition from being because maybe you were a Protestant Christian, because most of us grew up, Protestant Christians, and at least I did. I grew up Protestant Christian, and I watched pastors do nothing but pimp black women from the pulpit, and they don't teach the Bible. They don't teach the Bible the way the Bible should be taught, and it's simple because they know they can pimp those women out of money.
Almost definitely.
And my question to you is was that one of the things that made you want to switch from being a traditional Christian or the way black people are Christians to the Israelite to being a Hebrew?
Hey, wait,
I kind of found that out afterwards.
Hey,
but Woody, that was definitely. Say it again.
Hold, Woody. Someone's got a lot of moving in the background. Can you just go on mute if you're not speaking? Because you've got way too much moving in the background. All right, go ahead, Woody. Sorry.
Okay. No, I learned that afterwards when I finally found out what the scripture said. It's just like what they say in the FBI. They don't give you a class on what fake money is. I mean, they just keep on showing you real money. So when you see the real stuff, then when you see the fake, you know it's not right. So once I started studying for myself, I started seeing stuff that wasn't right. And I remember a brother of mine and I going to a certain congregation, and the pastor saying things that wasn't necessarily in the scriptures. And the brother, he's very much more like, I'm more laid back. He's more the type of person that's going to ask questions and get to the bottom of stuff. So he asked him, why are you not teaching this that the Bible say, and you teaching this that the Bible don't say? And the pastor actually admitted to him that, like, man, these women is the ones who pay all these bills and keep these lights on in here. Like, y'all brothers ain't paying nothing either. I love y'all brothers, but y'all ain't paying no money for real. These ladies is the ones who are paying to keep the lights on in here. So basically, he admitted that he's catering his whole, what he's talking about, to the ladies because he want them to make sure they keep them lights in there and keep him living that lifestyle that he living. But he not thinking that eventually you're going to have to answer to the Most High who gave him the word to preach it, the responsibility to teach it the right way. But I guess he figured he'd ride it till the wheels fall off. But yeah, that's definitely the case. They definitely don't teach it the way that it's written.
Can I expound on that a little bit? Listen here.
Yes, sir.
That bootlegging fucking pastor been selling this race out since fucking slavery. He is a plant from the white man. Hey, back in the day, the slave owners didn't want to sit there all day and be watching the slaves to make sure that they didn't have a slave revolt or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to find themselves a snitch or a plant that they could put in there. And guess who it is? It's that bootlegging fucking black pastor. That's what I'm talking about right now. Between him and that black woman, they are the reason for the destruction of the black community. Them two together. Those two together.
Oh yeah, even if you watch the movie Birth of a Nation with Nat Turner, the only book they would let him read was the Bible, and he would have to go around and read the book, read the Bible to the other slaves because they weren't allowed to read, and it was basically he would only allow to read parts to basically tell them to stay in line, not to revolt. I can kill you, but God said, "Don't kill me." You know, if you ever seen Birth of a Nation,
now I got to check that out. That sounds real interesting. I want to see it.
Very cool.
Oh,
hey,
brother, I definitely recommend you watch that movie.
Hey,
I'm gonna check it out. Most High willing, real soon.
Let's see if I can bring one more person in here. I'm gonna bring in area code 224. 224. You're live and on the air with Straight Talk. What's your name and where you calling from? And do you have a question? You're live with Woody.
What's going on, everybody? This is Bobby Drake from sunny South Florida.
Hey, Bobby. Thanks.
Hey.
What's going on, everybody?
All right. You have a question?
All right.
Do you have a question for Woody?
I don't have a question this time. For the most part, I'm sitting back and listening, but just want to let you know, Woody, I appreciate you, man, you and the rest of the crew. Your music was heavily played and viewed by my ears, and it's all good on my birthday.
Thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate that.
Hey, someone's got way too much going on in the background. Go on mute. So Woody, we've got a little battle going in the super chat, and what's being the battle is simping is basically men are responsible for not standing up and stopping men from simping. They just sat by and watched it. So it was a comment like, you guys who are in your 50s, you sat back, you watched it, and you said nothing. And some guys are saying, well, you know, what could we do? So what do you think? You think guys sat back and just watched all this happen?
I think personally that we didn't have a lot of the means that we have now. Like, we got social media now, and there's so many brothers that I personally have learned so much from. in the past like 10, 15 years, like since like 2011 when I got online. So I think that now is the perfect time for the older brothers and even some younger brothers to step up and start teaching what they learned to the brothers that's coming up now, like these little young brothers that don't know nothing. You know, like stop them before this stuff can happen to them. Because it's kind of too, I won't say it's too late because it's never too late if you got the mindset to receive it. But it's like some guys at our ages that we all are now are kind of set in our ways, so they ain't really going to change nothing. But if we could catch some of these young brothers before they make the mistakes that some of us made, then we still got a chance to do something about it. Now that we have the format to put the information out there. Because back in the 80s, it wasn't no social media. You know, it wasn't no way that we could speak and reach everybody unless you was a celebrity. You know, but now we got platform. Anybody can get a platform. Anybody can get a YouTube page, you know, and get on there and spread good information and good content to help brothers out because it's definitely needed. Because a lot of people are the way they are because they don't have any guidance. A lot of people didn't have a big brother. A lot of people didn't have a father or somebody who cared enough about them to pull them to the side and let them know that they was messing up, you know?
Well, and right, you talked about one of your members who was a little older and he pulled you to the side. Right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely a scholar.
That's a personal one-on-one, but you know, you still, so a couple of things happen. So when you're a guy who stands up, a lot of times a woman will say, well, you're the only guy saying anything. All the other guys, they kind of take it, right? They don't say anything.
Right.
So maybe it's you because you're the only one saying something, right? The other part is, and it's a big
Them
part.
the guys that make it bad. The ones that after the real guys speak up and say what he got to say, and then it's always that guy like, oh, don't pay him no mind.
Exactly.
You don't gotta listen to him, baby. And the whole time, all they do, most of the time, those guys all they do is get taken advantage of.
Exactly.
And end up being a male girlfriend at the best. Right. Don't even get nothing. They might get to see her change her underwear. She might come in like, oh, I just got this from Victoria's Secret. How you think it look? And let you see it for the next guy. You might get a picture of it in your phone to do whatever you will with it, but you ain't getting her in real life.
Right.
Acting like that. But these guys never figure that out until it's too late.
And so the other part is part of the reason for Straight Talk is that I wanted women to be able to hear what men really think. And so like you see that we've had some women call in. So there are women who are listening and they're not calling. I want them to be able to engage men. And if they don't engage, at least hear the thing never heard. Right. Well, it seemed like over the decades, if you were one of the guys who spoke up and let's say you had a group of 15, 20 friends, male and female, if you were the guy who said, hey, like, this is not working, this is not going down a good path, the guys stopped inviting you. They didn't invite you anymore. Here's the irony of it all. The guy who was speaking up, all the women were checking him out.
That's what I was about to say. They sneaker got his number some type way. He probably knocked off some of them girls. Exactly. I remember I used to have a guy, and I don't know if you're familiar with the guy called AMS, Alpha Male Strategies that come on. My buddy looked almost just like AMS, and he act just like him, except for instead of having an Alabama accent or wherever he from, he had a Baltimore accent, but it's almost like the same person. And this guy used to tell me all the time, used to try to pull me to the side and tell me, he's like, man, girls like you, but you too nice. You too nice. You doing this. You should be doing that. And the whole time I'm looking at him like, man, he probably hating. He probably wish he could do these things that I'm doing for you, girl. But looking back on it, I think you'll probably smash a whole lot of my little honeys back in the day be on the sneak tip because the way that he was conducting himself versus the way that I was conducting myself, you know?
Right. Actually, women will respect you more if you stand up.
When you be yourself.
Exactly.
Authenticity gets you a long way.
Yep.
I met more, and I'm not saying it in that type of way, but I met a whole lot more quality young ladies after being in the group. Because when I was in the group, I always felt like I had a role to play. It was an artist one time that came to my high school, and he ran down the steps in front of all the kids. We waited at the school to meet this guy. He ran. I'm not going to say his name because he passed away, and I don't want to speak ill on the dead. But he ran down the steps with his hands in the air, said, no autographs, and left us all just hanging just like that. So I made up in my mind that if I ever made it, I would stop and sign every autograph. I would just be super nice and super happy, like almost like Mickey Mouse or Chuck E. Cheese. And it's like, as a result of that, I got girls who like to kick it with me, like to be around me and stuff like that. But they wasn't really attracted to me because I wasn't really being myself. I was playing that character. Even when they would come back to the bedroom, I'm still playing that character, talking almost in a baby voice and tickling them and all that old foolishness. They thought I was a weirdo. And then it's like, after that whole thing was all over and I really started being myself, things started happening. And I'm like, dang, for real? Like, you do know I'm not famous no more, don't you? You really want to do that? But it was all as a result of me being my authentic self, who I was, instead of being that caricature that I created in the 90s, for real.
Well, you know, so authentic self, I think that's important. And I want to say this from another perspective. So all men are, you could say, are dangerous, right? So we are the apex predator. So the wolf is dangerous, the lion, the tiger, they're all dangerous, except a male human being could kill all of them. We build weapons and all, right? So if we hunt those things, right, we can go after any of them. So technically, men are really violent, but our society tells us to water that down and act, you know, act like a woman who's just masculine. And if men were just allowed to just be themselves and there were no consequences, it's not that we go around beating up everyone, but there'd be much more bravado and there'd be no consequences for just being a man. And we put boundaries. If you cross this boundary, there are consequences, period. And I think a lot of guys are afraid to live their life like that because they think women are going to get turned off, when in fact it's just the opposite.
And you know what's crazy? You're absolutely right. And I needed that. I needed that, what you just said. I just learned something from you. I thank you. But it's like, when you don't and you keep suppressing yourself, what ends up happening is this. I have a cool female friend, and she hit me one day and was like that it was a guy that she was cool with for years and years. And then out of nowhere, he said something real, like, just raunchy nasty to her. And she's like, I never thought of him like that. I thought he was cool. I thought he was nice. And he just out of nowhere just said this nasty thing to me. And I said, you know why he said that to you? I'm like, okay, it probably caught you by shock. I was like, but he probably finally figured out that being your male girlfriend wasn't getting him where he wanted to be. It was cool with you. You like telling him about your day at work. You like gossiping to him maybe about other females that was getting on your nerves and all that type of stuff. So you was comfortable with that. Whole time, he thinking that, like we was talking about earlier, if he just and like you just said, if he just keep making himself docile, keep playing that role, that eventually it was going to turn into something for him. And I guess in that moment, he figured out, like, look, this ain't been working for however many years that we've been cool, so I better take a different approach. So then he went for that extreme, and that's what happened when you just keep suppressing yourself. After a while, you just like a soda bottle. You just keep shaking it. After a while, that bottle go explode. That stuff go get everywhere. You feel me?
Right.
And that's what happened when you just keep suppressing it down and down and down like that.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Brethren, I say this on the flip side of that, Mr. Woody.
Yes, sir.
You just said he had to change his actions in his approach to that woman, but you gotta look at that now. That's considered tripping, even bad for the men out here that still wanted a husband. I mean a wife. You know what I'm saying? So that bad boy role kind of screwed and jacked up the whole marriage thing too.
Man, it's
they only want them. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to be derogatory, but I mean they want that type of dude to dominate them in the bedroom. We know that.
But what the other guy, when it come time, a girl told me that in middle school. She said, you the type of guy that I would come back to after I had all my fun, and I settle down with a guy like you. I was in middle school, like the 6th or 7th grade, when this girl told me this, and it ain't sit right with me. Then I'm saying, I want to have fun too. I want you after everybody else to have fun with you, and then you come to me all used up. I get the consolation prize. You feel me? So it's like, I think once again, like we said, been saying the whole conversation, it's all about balance. Like you could be a quality guy definitely nothing wrong with having things that you can offer and bring to a relationship, and even having a certain amount of, you know, like loving and tenderness and stuff like that. But you also gotta have that side that can get her excited too, because the girl don't want all day long, oh baby, oh honey. Did you go get tired of that after a while? You feel me? So it's all about having that balance and being able to turn stuff on and off. When it's time for that, when it's time for the bedroom, you turn it to that guy. And when it's time for just for that you gotta go in a business meeting or a board meeting or something, put your suit on, get your briefcase.
Right.
You know, you just gotta be an all around. That's just manhood, and that's what a lot of us are lacking and need to be taught. And the elders like us need to, you know, like do our best to teach the up and coming youth and even each other, because it's things that I can learn from you, brother Ted.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's things, you know, like that probably from all of us on this call that we all can learn from each other, including the sister that was just speaking up and talking about how she was giving her son them gems and stuff like that. Like we all can learn from each other, and that's what it's really about, you know.
But yeah, I think with the hold on, I think with the R&B, what it was you were right earlier when you said it's witchcraft. No, it actually is. It's subliminal programming. And
it is
subliminally programming men. It was subliminally programming men to be eunuchs, and no woman wants a eunuch. No woman wants, you know, a man with no backbone, with no spine.
Right.
You know, they're gonna get pissed off when you tell them no, but at the same time, they're getting moist.
Exactly. They be like, this somebody that can stand up to me for real.
Exactly.
And you know what's crazy? Not to cut you off, a lot of guys who sung that stuff ain't live like that in real life. Like the guys who was singing, like a lot of the rappers, when you listen to the interviews, the girls say the rapper's the one who rap about smacking bees and all that stuff. They say they was the sweetest guys in real life. And some of them R&B guys, they was the ones not advocating. It's not right to do. I'm not advocating nobody do it. But I heard a couple R&B singers get some domestic cases where they went upside their woman head, but they be the ones that sing the sweetest songs. Girl, I'd go up and grab the sun out the sky and bring it back to you and put it on your table. And they were the main ones making them see some stars for real. So it's just like when people, like a lot of these artists and celebrities will buy fake jewelry, and you sitting there spending your whole check, all your savings on a chain, when the guy you think you been, like, he got on a fake chain. And proud of it because he know he saved that money. So a lot of guys singing them songs to get a girl to act a certain way, even the ones that talk about getting high. Future said he don't use no drugs, but he sang Molly Percocet and got all the kids using drugs. So just like you said, brother, it is all about programming, and the person who's smart will be able to separate entertainment from reality. Right. And for the people who can't separate it, they need to put that entertainment down because it's messing them up bad out here.
Yeah.
Without the fathers being in the home, I told the story before. When I was, I actually grew up in Maryland too, and when my mother and my father divorced, my mother stayed in Maryland, and my father moved back down south to Virginia.
Okay.
And I remember when NWA came out with that CD, "Niggas for Life," right?
Mm-hmm.
My mother actually, we were going down south to visit my father and my grandmother. So my mother let me listen to that tape the whole way down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got down there. I took the tape out of her car, you know, and I tried to put that tape in my father's car.
Uh-oh.
Get that shit out of here. What are you listening to?
Right.
So I think, you know, without fathers in the home and the kids are allowed to listen to this music, yeah, it's poisoning their mind.
You're right.
Now we live in a society where we have our women, you know, who are pretty much turned against us, and they keep the man out the home. So now you have all these misguided children that are just easily being poisoned by all these outside influences.
You're right, and they coming at them from all angles. All angles. That's why we gotta keep them prayed up, and like you said, they need that guidance. They need their dads for real.
So I want to come at something from a different perspective, and I'm gonna take what you just said, right? Programming, right? But you also talking about how men are always singing "Oh baby, oh baby." Do female artists sing to men like that? Do you hear female artists like, "Oh, I'm so in love with you, I can't"? I mean, I'm not saying it never happens, but is it as much? Is it nearly as much as what men do?
No, sir. No, sir. It's very rare. Like somebody put a meme up that said the last time they heard a woman even apologize was Anita Baker, and that was back in like the 80s when she came out with "I Apologize." Even the late 80s or early 90s, the female was singing about if you can't give me this or you can't give me that. Then what they say, what the girl just said, the rapper said, if he can't buy you a Birkin bag, then give him back to the streets. And then you got all these male rappers that's co-signing that. Like you got other rappers that's co-signing like, oh yeah, she right, and all that old type of stuff, man. It's basically upside down. Like the way that the Bible said everything was going to be turned upside down in the last days. That's the way it is. Like you got a lot of females that come across super masculine, and you got a lot of these guys that's coming across super feminine. So it's like the roles have reversed. Like the woman be the ones running things, and the guys be like, "Oh yes, baby, yes, man." It was just a video up of a guy. He was supposed to be cooking, and he cooked the wrong thing. He was supposed to be washing the chicken, and he washed it with soap. And the girl like started smacking him in the back of his head and beating on him and stuff.
Right.
And then she took in they had a picture of her picking him up. They was kissing, and the girl had the guy lifted up in the air kissing him. She was standing on the ground holding him up in the air, kissing him. Like the roles just reversed.
Okay, so this is I'm bringing this up as kind of a hint to guys. So if women are not singing the "Oh baby, baby, I love you so much," if you want to talk about programming, at some point men are going to have to take a step back and what are women actually singing about? So what are they really telling us?
Right.
And meanwhile we have the guys begging women, and we have the few like the Orange Juice Jones, and it's not a lot like that. You've got a ton of space. So maybe guys need to rethink what's really happening in our environment, and maybe this is telling of women may not be as nurturing as we've been told they are.
They are being, it's like the same way we being programmed, they being programmed too. They being programmed, yo, you don't need no guy for nothing. It's the hot girl summer, real ass bees, give a F about a nigga. That's they theme songs that's being promoted to them. So it's like it's by design that everybody's flipping like that. It's just not something natural. I don't believe it's just naturally happening organically. I believe it's because of what's being pushed to this group and then what's being pushed to this group over here. And a lot of divide and conquer, a lot of sowing seeds of discord between males and females, you know, to keep us at each other's necks.
Why is the black community the only one being affected the way that it is?
Because for real, the Bible says we are light to all the other nations. Whatever we do, the rest of everybody else is going to follow suit. That's why hip hop the biggest form of music. That's why everybody's doing what it used to be rock and roll. But now if they want a message, they're going to put it in hip hop because they know everybody going to listen to hip hop. Be they black, white, yellow, purple, orange, they going to listen to hip hop. So if they could get the black people to do something, we the slickest, we make everything look good. So if they could get everybody, not to no other kind of people. You know, I love everybody that love me and treat me good. I love you right back. But I'm saying this, that we are basically the people that they know they can use to make anything palatable and make it look good. So if you get the black people doing something, everybody's gonna follow suit. Everybody in the whole world is turned into hip hop. You go over to China, they got stores where they sell hip hop gear. They sell gold fronts and coats and stuff like that. In Germany, I'd have been several places all over the country, and they got hip hop gear everywhere. So if you could get black people that act a certain way and to push a certain narrative or whatever, everybody's going to follow suit. So if they push it on us, then by like default, they know everybody else is going to hop on board.
So, you and I were talking about Baltimore and why Baltimore has become so crazy. It wasn't this crazy in the past. You were saying Baltimore always wants to kind of one up. They want to be better than whoever else has got something else going on, right?
Right.
So maybe there's some change in music that can come out of Baltimore. So maybe, you said early on that you were more of a nerdy guy and kind of shy, except when you got on the stage, you were a different kind of man.
Yes, sir.
So maybe there needs to be some tribute to the people who really are these brilliant geniuses, because they exist, but they don't.
They definitely do. They definitely here. and I'm sure in every other city too.
Right.
But they need that like it need to be made cool, and it's like that's an effort that's going to take a whole lot of people helping. It's not just a one guy that could just flip the switch and make it happen, because it's got to be like it's people that control what everybody sees, people that control what everybody hears.
Yeah.
So it's like those guys, they had to get through those people in order to reach everybody. But it's at the same time, us being where we are, we can reach people one at a time. Each one teach one, each one reach one. And then
Right.
the platforms that we have, we can reach as many as we can. Like we can't save the world. We might not save the world, but we can help the ones that we can that come across our path. We can do the best we can to help them as best we can. That's what I try to do as
So
much as possible.
you're in. Do you still sing?
I sing at karaoke. I sing for more so for fun and recreation than I do as far as like the business, because I love music, but I hate the business. I hate the industry, the way it's set up.
If you could do something like what you just said and transform, like undo, like you and I talked about mindset and undo the current mindset and create music that will help shape a new mindset, would you throw your hat back in a ring of music if you could do that?
I mean, I'm always down to help. I'm always down to do positive things. So
Okay.
if an opportunity presented itself to help be a part of something that could possibly help our youth that's so much in need of it, and even some people our age that's so much in need of it, then
Right.
most definitely, and it made sense, then I would definitely be down to be a part of it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Could we get you to sing some bars tonight?
But you would, yeah, I'd do a little something.
All right. Hey, so in the chats and on the phones, what do you all want to hear? You all want to hear something original from him? What do you want to hear? He's willing to do a few bars here. So this is we blessed with.
Don't say a Drew Hill song, because it's probably gonna be one that I didn't sing on. So I don't rather sing something from somebody else, like another great artist or another great group or act or something like that.
So in the chats, any requests in the chats for what you'd like to hear him sing from another artist?
On Angel, that was practically a solo. Did we hear that one?
Oh yeah, I did sing that by myself. I could do that. Is that cool?
Whatever you choose, man.
All right. Girl, it's been so long since I held you in my arms. So I picked up pen and paper and decided to write you a song. Things just ain't the same since you took your love away. All I have is dark and lonely days, 'cause the sun don't shine my way. I was simping, wish that I would find the words to say to show you love is real. But words just can't express the way I feel. 'Cause you're my angel, my sun up in the sky. We've been through hell and back together. Why you wanna leave me now? Only you can ease the pain I feel and wipe my tears away. So won't you fly back home and make me whole again?
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
90 seconds.
So someone said drip, 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 wet, wet, wet. Woody, watch out. Someone is throwing panties in your
Hey. We always like that.
Hey, any final words? We're gonna. So listen, I respect your time. I appreciate that you carved out some time and on short notice.
Sir. Had to do it, brother. Had to. Shout out to brother Chris, man, for connecting us, man, and everybody on here for hanging out with us. And thank you so much, sir, for having me into your house.
Any final words of wisdom you want to leave?
Man, just keep the Most High first. These are very, very critical times that we're in. And like the book says, if it's people that's called by his name, humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways and turn back to him, because these are very uncertain times. Keep yourselves in prayer, keep your families in prayer, be very vigilant, watch as well as pray, and love one another. Try to do good to each other. It don't cost you nothing to say hi to somebody, to speak to somebody, to show some love for real. The love you give them might be the only love that they get, but at the same time, you ain't entitled to take no mess off of nobody either. If somebody don't treat you right, get out of there. Don't keep hanging around thinking they're going to change and treat you some better, especially if you simping to try to get them to treat you better, and buying dinners to get her to treat you better, because she taking that Dougie bag over that other dude's house to give him some energy to beat her back out. Trust and believe, because it did happen to me. I'd have been on both sides of the gamut. I ain't afraid to tell you.
She'll be bringing the doggy bag to me, man. I hate to say
like, what you like? What you like to eat? I bet such and such. What you like from here? Oh yeah, that's what I want. Can we order some more? I'm about to be hungry tomorrow too. And the dude, he buying it, he all happy. And then as soon as he get to the door, he said, "Where you going?" I live that way. Oh, I thought you was coming. Oh no, I gotta get up early tomorrow. You gotta take me home. And our dude gonna be waiting on the couch. Don't be a dummy.
Hey, cool, man. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, likewise, brother.
If I'm in Baltimore, I'm gonna look you up, man.
Please do.
You got it. And thank you, everyone, for listening in. Woody Rock, we had live here, even blew a few bars for us, laid out some great wisdom and gave us some really good insight. So we got to hear it live from you, you know, what happened, your career, and how you made your own transformation. So I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Hey.
Yes, ma'am.
You wanted to say something, Letitia?
Oh, yes. It seems Woody has a hater in his...
Say that.
I'm saying he has a hater in his chat.
Hey, you're breaking up. Letitia, you're breaking up a lot.
She said it seems that Woody has a hater in chat, but you're going to have a hater everywhere you go.
Hey, what they say, if you don't got no haters, you ain't doing something right.
Exactly.
Lord bless their heart.
Absolutely. Hey,
Woody, thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, for real.
Hey, Chris, thanks for making this happen. Chris is the one.
For real, thank you, brother.
Yep, big thank you to you, Chris.
No problem. Like I said, I don't know how he found me, and with the things I say, I know it turns a lot of people off. I don't know. You know, I would just think that he's able to stomach it, because, you know, I don't do anything to tell the truth.
Oh, most definitely. I follow a lot of pages that, you know, like things that I can find the truth and stuff, whereas though somebody else might not find it. I can find what they say, you eat the meat and spit out the bones. Ain't nobody we gonna agree 100%. You probably might not agree with 100% of what I say.
Exactly.
I might not agree with 100% of what you say, but there's some truth in there, else I wouldn't follow you. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Hey, man, I know you have some commitments, so
yeah,
I'm going to say thank you. Have a great evening.
All right, thank you.
And everyone who called in and was in the chats, thank you very much. Everyone have a great evening. We'll see you next week. Take care, Woody, and take care.
Too.
Good night. Goodbye.
Good night. Peace.